social media. I'm here with Paul Aloise. First and foremost, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Can't complain. Can't complain. So, Paul is a sports agent. First and foremost, how did you get into that career field?
Well, it's something I was always interested in from a young age. Being involved in sports, and then always having the idea of wanting to go to law school and hopefully being able to kind of merge those two interests of mine into one and practice as a sports agent. And then me having played football at Florida State on the national championship team with so many guys who were going through that agent process and going to the next level really helped give me a more hands-on idea of what exactly it took to be a successful agent.
What are the key factors with being a successful agent, first and foremost?
I would say first and foremost is communication. The players you represent want to know that not only are they able to reach you, but that the information that they're getting from you when they reach you is accurate and up to date. It's a fast-paced job, and especially in today's times, everyone's on the internet, everyone's checking social media. So these people want to be able to get their information, know that it's accurate, and then be able to move on throughout the rest of the day.
So how do you exactly pick your clients? Do you go through social media? What is the process with that?
It varies for each client. Sometimes, social media is a way for me to reach out to players who are eligible to sign with an agent, which means that they are either 3 years removed from high school and have declared, or have finished their collegiate career and have used all of their remaining eligibility time. So sometimes through social media, sometimes it's through another former client. And also, some of my clients I've been able to get marketing deals for. So someone who might be representing them in a marketing aspect might also be working with another player, and they might say, hey, this guy's looking for an agent. Why don't you sit down and talk with him? So it really just depends on which player, which client.
So what got you exactly to be in the field of being a defense attorney, first and foremost?
Honestly, watching, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie My Cousin Vinny. It's a famous comedy movie. Me being Italian, there's a movie that I watched at a young age with my family, and it's very interesting. The ability to represent someone through probably the most stressful and trying time of their life and be able to guide them and hopefully get them a great resolution is something that I personally like. And then I interned at a prominent criminal defense firm here in Tallahassee, Florida, in undergrad and in law school. And then they actually taught me something that it really stuck with me. And since I like sports, they gave me a sports analogy. To be able to have the best defense, you want to first be able to learn the offense. And that's why when I got done with law school, I went and worked as an assistant state attorney, so as a prosecutor for 3 years, both in the Palm Beach County and in Leon County. And then after 3 years, I was able to transition into the criminal defense realm.
So since you used to play football, are you excited that football is back? And do you think that without fans, do you think the teams will be, do you think it will be a little bit different this year?
I think it's, first, I'm very excited that football is back. I have some players who were out of camps in Indianapolis and in Tampa Bay. So I'm happy that the NFL is getting these guys back to work. And then I have some players who are also under CFL contracts. So we're waiting for the CFL season to, officially start. So I'm happy it's back in some capacity. And, for me, living in Tallahassee, obviously I'm right near the Florida State program, the FAMU program. FAMU's season was canceled, unfortunately, but we're waiting to see what's going to happen with Florida State. I think college football, more so than the NFL, is going to have a bigger adjustment to make with the either no fans or lack of fans in the stands. Just because, the fans are a huge part of playing college football and having that home field advantage. But I do think, especially with the NBA, I know you cover a lot of NBA players and staff members. I think what they've done with the league thus far has been great. Baseball has had some interesting, fun ways of putting kind of fake fans, in the stands with those little cardboard cutouts. But I do think football, more so than those two sports, is going to have a different atmosphere overall, yeah.
So since you're out in Florida, what team do you like in the NFL? Do you like Jacksonville? Do you like of course, the Tampa Bay Bucks out there? Who do you like in Florida?
So in Florida, I grew up more in the Palm Beach area in Martin County, so we were obviously closer to the Dolphins, and we go to a lot of Dolphins games. But one of my clients, John Hurst, is a wide receiver with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now, so I gotta be cheering for the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Okay. Do you think that they're going all the way to the Super Bowl?
I mean, with Tom Brady on the team, I think you have to consider them a serious contender. They have great offensive weapons, and I think it's really going to come down to whether or not they're able to pull it all together kind of on a short notice. We saw, super teams struggle like that in the past, such as the Heat with their first season and losing to the Mavericks. It's just getting everyone to kind of gel together and get the playbook down and everyone feel comfortable with one another. But if they can do that, I think they're as good as any team out there.
All right, with basketball getting into the playoffs, who do you think is going to the finals?
Well, so I'm going to say the Clippers from the West, and I'm from Boston originally, so it'd be hard for me not to pick the Celtics. But watching the Raptors play and then obviously seeing the Bucks play, I think the East is really going to have a battle. But I would probably go with the Bucks with Giannis against the Clippers.
Okay. So how happy? With me, I have to go, and this is going to hurt me because I'm a diehard Lakers fan. I'm gonna have to go with Boston. I feel like Jaylen Brown out there, and then you got Kemba Walker. That team is very young. They got people that in their second unit that could definitely score. So they're going to be a prominent team that I could see that could go all the way. I don't believe in the Bucks. Because Giannis has to have at least over 35 points in order for that team to gel. And Middleton, I like him, but it's just they're missing one more piece. With the Lakers, they don't have a second unit. I mean, I like Kyle Kuzma, but he's very inconsistent. I like Dion Waiters, but Dion Waiters, he's more so of an I person instead of a team person. So that team is going to be definitely struggling. I think Portland's going to actually give them a little bit trouble. I think the Lakers are going to take it in 6. So it's going to be pretty interesting. But yeah, to go back to your initial question, I think Boston's going to take it all. And that hurts me. That pains me.
I like it. But I think the Blazers are going to give the Lakers a run for their money too. I was watching those last few games with Dame, and he's gonna really create a problem. I mean, not many of their guards can cover him. And then, they have a big, effective big man down the post that I think is going to give LeBron some trouble as well.
And then you also have to, a lot of people talk about Dame, but you got to get Melo out there. Melo has been definitely up. Yeah. I mean, averaging close to 17 a game now these days. Yeah. And a lot of people counting him out. And that's what I love about him. I love the underdog storyline with him. Because a lot of people counted him out. A lot of people say he was washed up. Now he's with a team in the playoffs. And, he can kind of get his revenge back because we always, as fans, we always wanted to see like a Melo and LeBron James in the playoffs facing against each other. And Melo haven't had that in years. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see, too. To go to the next question, what advice could you give people that are struggling right now in these uncertain times?
At least for me, what I've seen is really trying to focus, on my physical and mental health throughout this time. And I think that's what's probably the most important thing for anyone. I jumped into the private sector from being a state attorney right before kind of COVID really hit. And then obviously I've had to also deal with the changes in the NFL draft and then the pro days and kind of the whole landscape of the NFL, CFL, and XFL since COVID hit as well. So, I mean, it can be a lot. It can be stressful, but I really try, especially with different restaurants closed down and different bars closed down, it kind of gives you an opportunity instead of going out and maybe having a drink on the weekends, maybe to go get an extra workout in or just take some time to yourself and find a new hobby or something just to clear your mind and keep your mind off of all the stresses that are going on either at your day-to-day job or just in society right now.
Mm-hmm. So what are the pros and cons with being an agent?
I'd say the biggest pros, and I feel like for most people, they get into being a sports agent because they love sports. And so the biggest pro for me is it allows me to stay close and involved with the game of football. I used to do some representation for some baseball athletes as well, so it allowed me to be closer to the game of baseball. And so it really gives me an opportunity each day to kind of have, what I feel is a little touch on the game that's going on. And it's just for me also, it gives me the opportunity to help some of these guys who might be undrafted free agents or late round picks get that shot at the NFL, or if they get cut, get that second shot in the NFL, or get that shot in the CFL and help them revive their career. Similar to what you were saying, you like the underdog story. I did too. Being a walk-on at Florida State, you have to fight for everything that every play you want to get, every successful snap, even at practice you want to get. So I know what it's like to have to fight and climb and claw just to try and get, some recognition or play here and there, and especially helping these undrafted free agent players get to the league. It's kind of that same process. So that's a big pro for me. I think one of the cons is that, if you're not smart and careful with where you invest your money and what players you invested in and what training facilities, you can get burned. It's just like any other investment. As much as I like having a personal touch to this and working with the players and having a friendly relationship with them, it is a business. And if you put those resources into the wrong area or overpay for resources, and then you don't get a return on your investment and that player is out of the league in 1 or 2 years, it can be expensive and you can be operating at a loss.
What advice can you give players about managing their finances correctly? Because I know a lot of people go bankrupt and different things of that nature once they get a little load of money.
Right. Well, the biggest thing for us as agents, we're really supposed to not get too involved with their finances. I always stress to them to go meet with a financial advisor. There are NFLPA certified financial advisors, and those are the ones that we can recommend. But obviously, there's great financial advisors who work at Merrill Lynch, at Northwestern, that aren't NFLPA certified. So what I always tell them is, if you have people that you want to speak with, go sit down, speak with them, but talk to several different advisors. Get advice from several different people. Don't just get advice from those people that have been in your corner the whole time. Try to get someone who doesn't have an interest in what's going on, doesn't have their hands in the pot already from what's going on. But at least for me, as far as an agent, I kind of try to give them, because I'm 27, I'm turning 28 in a few weeks. I try to give them just some real life advice. Like, hey man, I was in your shoes not that long ago, and these are the couple things that I did that worked out for me financially. Or if I had had more money, these are the things I would have liked to do. So I try to give them some advice on that, but I really try and tell them, this is, you should go talk to a financial advisor, open a bank account, earn your credit, but talk to a financial advisor because, that the legal side and the agent side is more of my expertise, and I try to let the experts in the finance world help them.
And your perspective with everything being postponed, how in the world are these, these other guys that wants to get to the NFL draft, how do you think they're getting drafted this year or next year? Do you think the NFL draft is going to get pushed back, or do you think that some of these guys can utilize old tape, just so they can get their name a little bit out there?
Yeah, I think that them utilizing, their junior year tape or their sophomore year tape could be just as effective. You see it time and time again how a player who might have had a great sophomore or junior season that doesn't have a good junior or senior season still gets drafted pretty high. So it's really based on that projectability, right? Because, anyone looks good in a highlight tape. They want to see these scouts and these teams want to see how this player plays each play. If the ball is going away from them, how are they reacting? Are they still fighting for their block? Are they still trying to go make a play? So, they want to see that full game tape, and they want to see that you have the projectability and hard work. I think that it's very possible that the NFL draft gets postponed a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised, and I think it's more likely to get postponed if once the NFL season gets started, we have some more delays due to COVID outbreaks. Now, a lot of different collegiate programs are choosing their own course of how they're going to proceed, whether they're canceling the season outright or whether they're having it in the spring. And I could see a real issue if players are playing in the spring and not able to go to the NFL Combine, or them not have their pro day in March like they normally have. So I think those teams playing in the spring are either might be at a disadvantage, or the NFL is going to have to accommodate for them. And I think it's really just going to depend on how many big teams are playing in the spring.
Okay. How do you balance being an attorney, agent, as well as family life?
I really try to just keep it compartmentalized. I'm a big Deion Sanders fan, like I said, and he talks about that in a couple of his podcasts that he's done with Tony Gonzalez. When I'm at work doing my legal work, I really try to focus solely on my legal work. And then when there's certain days that I know my agent work is taking priority, I try to kind of switch gears and then focus solely on my agent work. I try to do my agent work, on breaks from work, after work, on the weekends, and really try to focus different times of each day to each field. But I'm a big family man. I come from a close-knit Italian family, so staying on the phone and calling my parents and calling my brother are important. Unfortunately, they live in South Florida, so I don't get to see them as much in person. But I really just think it's focusing if I'm at work and I'm working on a complaint or I'm drafting a motion. I try during those times to not think too much about my other clients, even my other legal clients. I try to focus one client at a time and one kind of job at a time. But then once, the weekend hits, or once it's after work and it's, 8 o'clock at night, then, that's when it's time for me to call my family and stay in touch with them. And I think that balance is important so that you don't get overstressed in any of those areas.
Okay. And the last question is, what advice can you give people about taking a leap of faith and making their dreams happen?
One of the biggest things I grew up being preached to from my family was, to not have any regrets. So my biggest thing was, I'm young, I don't have a wife and kids. Now is the time for me to try and live out this agent dream of mine. So for me, it was, okay, I have the means, I have the resources. Let's take that jump. Let's take that leap of faith. And because I don't have as much to lose right now. If I had a wife and kids and I had to invest, say, $10,000 into the agent business and it could potentially impact my wife and kids, I might have a different outlook on it. So I think that while people are young and they have the opportunities and means to do so, they should, but they also should do their research. There's definitely a couple of things that I wish maybe I knew ahead of time, or watched interviews with some agents or watched some podcasts to try to find out, the ebbs and flows of the job and where some people might have messed up in the past that I could have prevented from having those same mistakes as well. So I think doing your research and being confident, but really like going all in and giving it your all, because I think it's very difficult for anyone to succeed in any field in 2020 with how competitive the job market is and with how easy it is to get information now. That if you're not getting that information and you're not fully focused and not giving it 100%, it's going to be hard to compete with everyone else. Okay.
Oh, this is the next question I wanted to ask you. I know that I said that was the last. Where can we find your clients at? Because I know you said, you have one wide receiver that plays for Tampa Bay. How about your other clients?
I have a wide receiver who actually, unfortunately, was just released from the Indianapolis Colts this week. His name is Malik Henry. He's someone that was with the 49ers and the Colts last year. So, I'm confident he's going to get picked up by another NFL team over these next few weeks. Then I have, like I said, multiple players in the CFL, one being Matthew Thomas, who was a linebacker at Florida State that I used to play with. He's with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I have Devontae Jackson, running back, who used to be in the NFL. Matt Thomas was in the NFL with the Steelers and Ravens. Now he's in the CFL. Devontae was with the Broncos. And now he's up with Edmonton in the CFL. And I have Shannon Smith, another wide receiver, who, was at West Georgia, where some of my other clients are from, and he's up in the CFL right now with the Ottawa Red Blacks. I had a couple guys in the XFL, but obviously that league folded. So I have a couple guys who are free agents right now, and a couple guys who, absent COVID, would have been signed as undrafted free agents for the NFL this year. But, you can find all my clients at renegadesports.com, and you can check out my Instagram page and find out my clients there.
Amen to that. Thank you, Mr. Paul, for just allowing me to definitely interview you as well as being on the show, my friend.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. And like I said before, I love some of the interviews you do with some of the other athletes and entertainers you have on here. So keep up the great work, man.
Thank you, man. We will definitely stay in touch and definitely have a blessing, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Take it easy. Bye.
Yes, sir. All right, now. Bye-bye.
Yep.